Now that you have learned some effective search techniques, we'll talk about searching www.google.com. Using Google.com, you can search for academic purposes or just everyday searches. This has become an increasingly popular search engine for people all across the world to use. Most people just do a regular Google search in the search engine bar, but if you used an advanced Google search, you can narrow down your results quite extensively. You can actually search by file type, and you can look at just PowerPoints, you can look at just Adobe files, or you could search within a specific domain. You could narrow your search to .gov or .edu websites. And we'll also take a look at Google Scholar. A lot of educational institutions use Google Scholar to help their students become more familiar with searching academically. Now we're going to talk about an effective Google search. So you could open your browser. It doesn't matter if you use Internet Explorer or Firefox. Just go to www.google.com, and this is the page where most people would begin their Google search. So I know as a teacher, most of my students would go ahead and type in their search term here. And sometimes it can be up to a sentence long, and they don't try to narrow down their topic very much. They just put the entire thing in there. So say if I gave an assignment as famous mathematicians was the research topic, they would just automatically type in famous, and then mathematicians, and they would tell it to go ahead and search. And as you can see, we came up with about 149,000 results. So then students had to go through and start picking which ones they want to look at. And usually as middle schoolers and high schoolers, they're going to pick the first page. They don't usually even get to the second page. So they've got some, decent searches here that they have, mathematicianspictures.com. But I'm not seeing very many .edus or .org or .govs. It's not very reputable websites that could be made by anyone. They don't really know. We do have a couple. We have ncsu.edu. That's a pretty reliable source, but students don't normally take the time to narrow those down. So if we could teach our students to be a little bit more responsible with their searches, then they wouldn't have to spend so much time reading through each one of the web addresses. So now you can go back to the original Google page, and we'll look at if we had narrowed this down beforehand using the advanced search. So if you click advanced search instead, this allows you to narrow your topic down just a little bit. So we still want to use all of these words, famous mathematicians, because that's their research project. So we'll just compare the difference just using the same search term. You could use a whole phrase, and this also has Boolean operators in for you that you don't have to come up with on your own. And results per page, 10 results per page, that's fine. Language, you can just select there. And file type. This is important if you're using a computer that's not supporting different types of files. Or say you're wanting to look at ideas for PowerPoints for you to make your own. You can get an idea of what a good professional looking PowerPoint would look like on famous mathematicians. So that's another format that you can go ahead and look at. But if you want to search within a site or domain, you can go ahead and put the entire website. Say I just want to search you could put your school's website. I just want to search, maybe www.auburn.edu and see if they have any famous mathematicians on their pages. But you can search just within a site or a specific domain. So maybe I want to search just .edu. So that would be more academic resources. And then I can perform my advanced search. So now I've narrowed this down to about 1,300 results, which is still a huge number to work with, but they're all worthy of our attention. So these are .edu sites, and usually they're going to be more professional since we have either college students or college professors that are putting these pages together that have done research, and it should be researched effectively and with good citations. So this would be a little bit easier for students to sort through. So you can look at that, and you can also narrow down, just images. If they were trying to put images into a PowerPoint, they could get images just from .edu or .gov, and the images wouldn't be tainted or messed up. They would be original images, most likely, if you got them from a reliable source. So, say I did just want to look at famous mathematicians that were just in PowerPoint form, because maybe I want to show my students an example of what I want their PowerPoint to look like. So I can change just the file type to be PowerPoint. And then I can pull up famous astronomers or mathematicians eccentric. I can show them a PowerPoint, and instead of having to make one myself, I can just show them one, and it's a little bit easier way to access PowerPoints on the same topic that you may be researching or teaching at the time. It may take a while for PowerPoints and Adobe files to download, depending on the size that they were created at, of course. And this looks like it is a student-made PowerPoint, so that it was just submitted to the university. But this is everything you wanted to know about mathematicians. So this would be a sample that could be shared. Maybe some, interesting points to make to students that maybe they want to come up with some quotes and some key points that they're going to put in their PowerPoint. So that would be something, a useful purpose for pulling up all kinds of PowerPoints on one topic. So we also want to talk about Google Scholar. This Google website is one that is not used as often, but I think it will become increasingly popular with the use of universities and colleges throughout the world. So basically, you can get to this from the Google website, but if you just go, I typed in googlescholar.com and it automatically self-corrected to scholar.google.com. But this is just a sub-website from the Google website, and you can do your basic keyword searches here, but it also has the option for you to include articles and legal opinions in journals, and it also has an advanced scholar search similar to the advanced Google search. So this looks more like a search of a database if you've ever used any EBSCO products or things like that. It's basically narrowing down the articles, and you can also help narrow it down by author, by years that it was publication years. That's something that's very helpful, because a lot of times when you're in college or even in high school, teachers request that the articles be, maybe written in the past 10 years. So this helps you not have to sort through so many old articles. Or maybe you're looking for something that was, happened a long time ago. So you can narrow that down a little bit. And you can also search certain collections and legal opinions in journals. So it's very helpful when you're trying to find academic-based research, and you can narrow it down to articles instead of just doing a regular Google search where you may get blogs and websites that can have been edited by anyone. So if I want to search all of the words, maybe we'll stick with the famous mathematicians. And we'll go publish between, we'll do, let's see, 2000 and 2010, just in the past 10 years. And we'll search articles in all subject areas and just see what we come up with. So there's a linear programming article here, and talking about different mathematical topics. And they basically are referring back to famous mathematicians that the topic is based off of. So it's not really a famous mathematician that the article is written about, it just references famous mathematicians. But there's not been a huge onset of famous mathematicians in the past 10 years. Most of the bigger mathematical topics have been discovered previously. But this is an article on linear programming, and it is referencing several different famous mathematicians, so that could be something that you could use to show how famous mathematicians are still affecting society today. So this is just more trusted archives for scholarship. You can see that this came from the jstor.org website. So .org websites are usually pretty reliable, like we've talked about in the past. So Google Scholar is just another way that you can do an advanced search, but just narrow it down to more scholarly articles. And they also have where you can look up videos and images and things of that nature that are scholarly as well. So if you have any questions, please play around with Google Scholar and the advanced Google searches a little bit, and I think that you'll find that you will not have quite as hard time narrowing down your results.